They looked like nothing at first, just tiny black dots scattered across his face. But what no one knew was that some of them had been hiding there for over a decade, buried deep inside the same pores, growing layer by layer. By the time Ahmed finally decided to do something about it, they weren't just blackheads anymore. They were time capsules of everything he had ignored for years. This is the story of how he finally faced them and why the moment they came out was unlike anything he had ever felt before. For years, Ahmed had quietly battled with stubborn blackheads that seemed to multiply no matter what he tried. They started small, tiny specks on his nose and cheeks that he barely noticed in his teenage years. But as time passed, they became deeper, darker, and more stubborn. By the time he was in his late 30s, the pores around his nose, chin, and even behind his ears were clogged with thick plugs of oil and dead skin. Friends would joke about his permanent freckles, but Ahmed never laughed. They weren't freckles, and he knew it. He tried drugstore strips, scrubs, steaming, even home remedies his grandmother swore by, but nothing worked for long. Each time he thought he'd cleared them, they returned within weeks, settling back into the same pores as if they'd never left. Eventually, he stopped trying, letting them build layer by layer until they became tiny, raised bumps you could feel under your fingertips. He avoided mirrors and bright light, declined photos, and even grew a beard to hide the lower half of his face. But deep down, he missed the clear skin he once had. It wasn't just about appearance. The clogged pores itched and ached sometimes, especially when the weather turned humid. Finally, after years of avoiding the issue, Ahmed booked a session with a skin specialist. He didn't realize this appointment would turn into the most satisfying blackhead extraction of his life, an encore performance his skin had been waiting for. The treatment room was quiet, softly lit, with the scent of antiseptic in the air. Ahmed lay back on the reclined chair as the specialist pulled on gloves and leaned close, inspecting his skin with a bright magnifying lamp. "You've been holding on to these for a long time," she said with a gentle smile. She started with warm steam, letting the heat soften the skin and loosen the plugs inside the pores. Then came the extractions, slow, deliberate, and deeply satisfying. Using a precision tool, she pressed gently around each blackhead, and Ahmed could feel the tiny release as each one slid free. The bigger ones made faint popping sounds as thick, dark plugs emerged, some with long tails of hardened oil that had been trapped for years. She worked in sections, first the nose, then the chin, the cheeks, and finally the hidden spots along his hairline and ears. With each press, Ahmed felt lighter, as if tiny weights were being lifted from his skin. After nearly an hour, the pores that had been clogged for years were finally empty, the skin smooth and pink from fresh circulation. The specialist applied a soothing mask, cooling and calming the treated areas, while Ahmed closed his eyes, savoring the relief. When she handed him a mirror, he barely recognized his reflection. The dark dots were gone, replaced with a healthy glow he hadn't seen since his 20s. For Ahmed, this wasn't just a skin treatment. It was a fresh start, a reminder that it's never too late to take care of yourself, and that even after years of buildup, a second chance at clear skin is possible.